Capricorn, I got the message that you are at the final hour of something. While I was tuning in with your energy, the image that kept coming through was this cliffside, and it was specifically at sunset or at dusk. And it feels like there is something that is almost kind of reminding me of like the Judgment card in the major arcana. There's something here where it feels like now is the moment, this is the moment of truth. And at first, when I was kind of looking at this image of this cliff, it felt like maybe there was a sense of being backed into a corner. But the more I was feeling into this energy, it actually did feel like there was some kind of leap of faith or something that you were calculating, a next step or a leap of faith that you're kind of considering taking at this time. And specifically because it was at sunset, it does feel like for some reason there's this sense of urgency. Not saying that there is, that's just sort of the feeling that was coming up. And so this image may apply to each of you in different ways, but that was just sort of the initial impression I was getting. I did pull a couple of animal cards here, and we'll get into the tarot after that. But first, I want to thank all of you who support this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. As always, it's with all of your support that I'm able to continue doing this incredible work, so thank you so much for that. If you haven't done so already, I really encourage you to hit that subscribe and bell notification so that way you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. I do also have a link in the description of this video for my website where you can book a personal reading or energy healing session with me. So if you're ready for that deep dive, you can find the link for that in the description of this video. I'm very, very curious to see how this is going to kind of unfold for you, Capricorn, because I got a couple of cards that actually feels like really strong Scorpio energy. I did get the Scorpion and the Sea Serpent. So, I mean, obviously with the Scorpion, I couldn't help but think of Scorpio energy. But I did also get the Snake as well. And this is also a symbol for Scorpio. Some people may know about Ophiuchus or Ophiuchus. This is sometimes called the 13th zodiac sign. I don't really observe it personally, but it is something that kind of overlaps with the Scorpio constellation. So there is kind of this connection to the serpent as well. And I think there's another constellation, Serpens, if I'm not mistaken, that also kind of falls within the Scorpio axes. But anyways, it feels like there is some kind of death, rebirth, renewal that's very signified with the serpents here. Maybe some kind of shedding as well. I think you've almost outgrown something. And even as I'm looking at the image of this scorpion, I'm actually getting this sort of visual of a scorpion ready to molt. And it's almost like the skin is tight. It's like something is confining, something is like making you feel stuck in yourself, and it's like time to shed something. It's time to let go of something, and it does feel like there's some big emotions around this as well, specifically with the Sea Serpent, because this can be a very emotional card. This actually corresponds to the sacral chakra, so it does really govern things like emotional and creative expression, as well as sensuality. So these could be kind of dominant themes coming up right now too. And I am curious if there's something maybe going on in the part of your chart that is ruled by Scorpio, or something going on with Mars, which rules over Scorpio for you. That might be something to kind of look at or learn more about. So if you have Scorpio placements, I kind of feel like this reading is especially for you, or maybe you're connecting with another Scorpio. I am going to shuffle the cards here. Let's get into the tarot and kind of clarify what all of this is about. As I'm shuffling, I just want to give my friendly reminder that these are general readings, meaning not all the messages that come through are going to be meant for you. It's up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life and what should be left behind for somebody else. Some of these messages may not even be for you. They may be for someone you are connecting to, regardless of zodiac placements. So what are the messages that we have for Capricorn? And as I'm shuffling the cards here, I really invite you to visualize a white light coming down through your crown and into your heart and shining out into the space around you, knowing that you are protected and guided. What are the messages that we have for Scorpio at this time? Mm. Interesting. So it really does feel like there is something you've outgrown, Scorpio. And I almost feel like this is an old sense of self, but for some of you, it could very well be talking about relationships or even goals that you've had, whether that's tied to career or something else. The first card that came out in the past was the Page of Pentacles, and this sort of did feel like humble beginnings to me. There was something that felt really promising, something that you wanted to commit to or put your energy in, something or someone. And the card that came from this was the Eight of Pentacles. So again, very much working towards something, building towards something. And I feel like that's kind of been the energy for a while. It actually feels like things kind of felt pretty good with whatever it is that you were spending your time and energy towards. It felt like it was building something up for your future. And I do even feel like there's some kind of celebration that's going on with the Three of Cups in the present. So this is sort of interesting. I do get the sense that there is some kind of coming together that's happening right now. Tell me more about this Three of Cups. Why is the Three of Cups here? Interesting. We have the Hierophant. So this feels like coming together with like-minded people. This does feel quite spiritual. So maybe some of you are connecting to spiritual community or witchy community. I get the sense of finding kindred spirits or people who share similar values to you. For some of you, this could also be signifying some kind of ceremonious celebration, maybe something like a wedding or some kind of initiation. It feels like there is some sort of leveling up, and for some reason, I don't think you're the only one in that picture. It feels like there's other people involved, so definitely let me know in the comments if that's true. Who is part of this celebration? Maybe there's like a class or a group of you or some friends. This feels very interesting. And I do feel like something has grown or is still in the process of growing, because the change here is the Queen of Pentacles. And this really does feel like that evolution from the Page of Pentacles at the very beginning. And it feels like there's almost this gear shift that's happening right now. Because I think at first there was some kind of energy towards building something. And even though there was this element of discipline or focus or just investment in some way, I almost get the sense with this Queen of Pentacles, there is a contemplation of the future. Where is this going? Now that I've had this success, or now that I've reached this point, what do I do from here? And actually, the card for the future is the Seven of Pentacles. So there is some kind of growth or harvest that is taking place right now. Maybe some of you are coming back to work that you've done before. For some reason, that's kind of coming in. You might be remembering an old project or old goal that you had. But the Seven of Pentacles really is kind of making assessments. It is sort of what I was describing with this Queen of Pentacles. But it's also interesting for me to kind of note that you did get the Eight of Pentacles earlier in this reading, and it almost feels like there's a little bit of a coming back to something, reducing something, cutting back in some way. This feels like refining your process, and for some reason, there is still this feeling of constriction that I kind of want to peel back a little more. What am I picking up here? What is this feeling of constriction? The Scorpion, the cliff. Yeah, interesting. The Hanged Man. What's really interesting to me about this reading, Capricorn, is I feel like on the outside things are actually going well. I think people are seeing you as successful or achieving something, or I think there's just like this outward appearance that for some reason you may not be feeling with the Hanged One. This is quite literally feeling stuck in place or kind of going through a process that's a little uncomfortable, and you can't really do much other than just get through it or gain a different perspective. I feel like your perspective is changing. You know what? Your vision is growing, or rather, your vision is refining. Because you are having some success right now, and maybe even stepping up into this role of mentor or guide yourself with this Hierophant. Tell me more. Tell me more about this. I was just going to say, I feel like some of you might be doing some kind of divination practice or returning to that right now with this Queen of Cups, but it really does feel like getting back to the heart of something, the why you have chosen a certain path. And I almost get this sense for you, Capricorn, that maybe even though growth has been positive overall, it feels like there's almost some weeding to do. Like maybe you are figuring out what works, what doesn't, and I feel like you're letting go of something that doesn't work or is just extra. Like it doesn't really add anything. And when it comes to relationships, some of you might also kind of be reevaluating your expectations in a relationship, or kind of reevaluating the long-term future here. I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing either. I'm not actually getting the sense of walking away from something, but for some reason it feels like you almost get the sense that you are backed in a corner, and I don't actually think that you are. But I do think you need to shed something, because I'm almost getting like a little bit of a Ten of Wands kind of energy here, where there's a lot of pressure on you right now. And it does feel like there's a shedding, but that's not the same thing as a loss. Shedding does not equal loss. There is a refinement. I'm really feeling like that is an important distinction for you to have in your life right now. You're not losing anything. It's very Saturnian, Saturn in influence, which is your ruling planet. In astrology, we often think of Saturn as bringing about restrictions, hardships, and almost like invoking this need for discipline. But the truth is, Saturn's energy is almost like a rock tumbler, chipping away at those edges, making us shine, giving us that polish. Even though that process might not always be comfortable, it feels like you're going through some sort of refinement right now. And the Devil, which is also one of your cards. Kind of interesting. Actually, this is the card that is correspondent to Saturn. Why is the Devil here? I'm looking at these strings. It's reminding me of the Hanged One. Why is the Devil here? Interesting. I feel like some of you feel obligated to hold on to something or someone from the past, or feelings from the past, or like it's not even that big though. I almost feel like you're making a bigger deal out of something than it needs to be. I feel like some of you are sort of realizing that you thought you wanted something, and it's almost like you're telling yourself you want something because you don't want to maybe let somebody down or let yourself down. But I think there's still a lot of achievement. There's a lot of success. There's a lot of happiness here still. What is this about? This might be about a family member or an old friend, old connection. I'm going to save these because this feels like a separate message. What is going on in relationships for Capricorn? Wheel of Fortune. There's definitely some major change, turning of cycles. And the Five of Swords. So some of you could be walking away from a connection or picking and choosing your battles more. What is worth your time and energy? I feel like you're just being very discerning with the relationships that you show up to in your life, because I think there's already some change, or you're sensing that there's about to be a change. And I kind of get this with the World and the Eight of Wands that I just put aside. There is growth, there is expansion, and I feel like you're just focusing on something else right now. And something could be happening a lot quicker than you even anticipate, which is sort of interesting with the Eight of Wands, because sometimes when I see the Seven of Pentacles, especially in the future, something might take a while. And it's not to say that there won't be effort involved, but I feel like a little bit of effort is going a long way. Anything else for Capricorn? Any blessings for Capricorn at this time that we should be aware of? Interesting. Strength and the Five of Wands. So this is kind of a weird blessing, I'm not going to lie, because what I'm really getting from this is like your strength and willpower is going to prevent drama in your life right now. And it's almost like whatever sort of conflict or drama could be happening in your life, it almost feels like a background noise, because there is this strength, this determination. And I almost feel like by being the bigger person, it kind of snuffs out whatever this drama is. So I do feel like if there's been some sort of conflict or tension or just honestly chaos, it feels like your composure or bringing things together is resolving that. What other blessings do we have for Capricorn? We have the Eight of Cups. You are walking away from hard situations or just things that aren't working out. And while that might seem like a weird blessing, we do have this image here that kind of shows us something's been leaking for a while. The way you've been doing things might not be working. And it feels like there's only been like patching the problems. So what I'm actually getting from this card, and I'm just kind of getting a ring in my ear as I get this message, you're getting to the heart of things. That is actually the meaning of this card in this position for blessings. You're not just patching things up anymore. You're not just surviving or coping with life. You're solving things on a true, deep level. You're getting to the root of the problem. It's not just a band-aid. And I feel like some of you could be overcoming some form of sabotage with the devil. Because I really do feel like there's something you're very productive with right now, Capricorn. And I feel like you're very focused. And again, that effort is going to go a long way. A little bit of effort actually takes you farther than you realize. And if it feels like you're kind of backed into a cliff, or like ready to take, like, not ready to take that jump, like, oh man, this is going to be so big, this is going to take so much. It might not actually take as much from you as you realize. It's not as big of a leap as you're afraid it might be. So whatever changes you need to make in your life, Capricorn, I don't think you need to be afraid of making that change. And that's all about Scorpio energy too, that I got at the very beginning. Now this is all kind of coming together for me. Anything else? I feel like there's just one more card, so I'm going to shuffle here. What is the closing message for Capricorn? Any other blessings here? The Magician. So I actually did see this card earlier. Yeah, you're just putting something together. You're focusing an intention right now. And I feel like you're kind of in this state of like both envisioning and creating something. And you kind of need that energy in the people around you right now. So some of the relationships that you might be retreating from or withdrawing from at this time, maybe even closing out or ending, but I feel like it's more about focusing on something else. It's like those people don't understand here, like what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're creating. I'm getting a sense of purpose here, a sense of calling. You are doing something magical. And you might need to be protective of that because maybe there's some pessimism around you, or maybe there's people who just aren't trying to create more with their life. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I feel like you're seeking out a different kind of connection, especially with the Three of Cups. Like a spiritual connection. Anything else with this Magician? I mean, it really just feels like, again, whatever it is that you're working towards or envisioning or manifesting, it just feels like you're making it happen, Capricorn. So don't be afraid to take that first step. And those are all the messages I have for you at this time. If you've made it all the way to the end here, definitely leave a comment. Give us some snake or serpent emoji. Really claim this energy, this renewal, this shedding. But I also feel like part of that shedding is actually the growth, which is really the thing that is most exciting here, at least in my opinion. Again, there are links in the description for my website where you can get personal readings and energy healing sessions with me. You can also find all of my other social media accounts. And you're welcome to check out the playlist on my channel. There could be messages for you there as well, especially if you're feeling drawn to kind of look for your sun, moon, or rising sign, or whatever. It really doesn't matter. Just use your intuition to be drawn to the reading that is speaking to you at this time. And I will see you all next time, Capricorn. I'm sending lots of love and blessings your way. Take care.